wanted to take a few minutes today to talk about independent communication, evaluating the need and the possibility of having independent communication. On LDS.org, under Frequently Asked Questions on Emergency Communication, we can read the following. Is there a need for emergency communication in my ward or stake? When an emergency occurs, leaders need the ability to immediately communicate with members, missionaries, and civil and church authorities to provide status reports or to request assistance. A reliable emergency communication system should be in place if regular telephone or cell phone services should fail. Next question. If we typically don't have natural disasters in our area, why should we include emergency communication in our ward and stake emergency plans? In addition to natural disasters, an emergency may occur anywhere and without warning. Examples include hazardous material spills, fires, power failures, and terrorist attacks. Consider which emergencies are possible in your location and identify specific ways to communicate in these types of emergencies. Skipping down, will my mobile phone work in an emergency? The mobile telephone is an effective tool for communication under normal circumstances. However, in a disaster, mobile telephone systems often fail due to overload, damage, and loss of power. Mobile telephone providers will restore service following a disaster, but it may take several hours, days, or weeks. There are other questions here on LDS.org, but those suffice in our consideration of the need of having an independent communication system. During a disaster or a power outage, our home telephone service that are wireless will not work. As soon as the power goes out, the wireless service goes down, and we are not able to make telephone calls. Most people don't have the old style just wire telephones anymore. During some emergencies or disasters, these old wire phones that do not rely on broadcasting power inside your home still will run off of the telephone line as long as the telephone line stays powered. But as soon as the telephone line goes dead, then they no longer work as well. We have many different electronic devices and cell phone services, but as the LDS.org website said, during a time of disaster, these communication services also get bogged down or can be damaged. Another thing that most people don't know is that under the terrorist attack laws with the Fed, the cell phone services will be suspended or shut down during the event of a terrorist attack, which could be localized or which could be nationwide, depending on what the Fed believes the terrorists are trying to communicate, because they use cell phones to detonate things and or to communicate. So the protocol is in place to shut down cell phone service locally or nationwide during a terrorist attack. So that leads us to what is the possibility. We can see that there is a need and there is a prompting in the handbook there that says that we should have these things, but is it possible? There are many different kinds of radio communication and ham radio devices. These Baofeng radios are very durable and cost-effective radios that give us the opportunity to communicate with who we want to communicate, independent of any other power grid or connection device. We're being able to put those frequencies in and then communicate with each other in the stake. A simple system like this costs around $150, which gives you the two radios, all the charging cords, the solar panel, and an external antenna so that you can reach out long distances, what I've tested up to 41 miles, and be able to charge them if the power is out or other battery supplies are not available. So we have in the stake plan, each ward is assigned a 2-meter ham radio frequency and also an FRS frequency, which is your normal family band radios. Those FRS frequencies are inputted into the family band radios. Many people have those. The problem with these radios, they do work, but their distance is not very long because they are a small power output. When we have a larger power output, then we can get out further, travel that distance across there. The Baofeng models and any of the ham radio models are able to input those frequencies and any other frequencies and save them into the radio so that you can communicate with a variety of different sources. So like I said, we have each of the wards is assigned a frequency on the family band radios as FRS frequencies, and also a 2-meter frequency, which would allow the wards to communicate inside the ward. And then we have a stake frequency, which then the operator would switch over to the stake frequency and broadcast that ward information to the stake. Say an example of that would be in the morning time, the wards individually would communicate at, say, 8:30 in the morning, and then they would gather that information. Then at 9 o'clock they would broadcast that information to the stake, and then they would correlate with the stake on a stake level for the individual needs of the wards and what the stake could do to organize the needs. This is a basic and simple overview illustrating the need for this emergency communication, and also the possibility of how simple it could be to have this in place. The stake presidency has put in place communications for themselves, and now they need individuals in the ward areas that they can speak to. So when we do have that emergency, when the communication system is down, we can get information back and forth quickly. We are accustomed to having instant communication, and so whatever we can do that will implement a way that we can have that communication independent from outside sources or outside disasters that shut it down, that would be preferable. If you have any questions, you can email me at yourownarc@gmail.com, or just respond to the email that you receive this video in, and we'll go from there. Have a great day.